Have you ever stood in front of a potential customer, presented every benefit, every strength, only to be met with a disinterested look and the promise to review it later? So many opportunities seemed within reach, then slipped away without a trace. The market has no room for hollow pitches or enthusiasm without strategy. Most failures don't stem from a lack of skills, but from a flawed approach right from the first seconds. Among countless salespeople who speak the same, act the same, only those who are sharp enough to break patterns and deliver real value can survive. Selling has never been a game for the risk-averse. Want to move beyond the comfort zone and into breakthrough territory? That journey begins by eliminating the habits silently killing every deal-closing opportunity. Part 1. Redefining customer approach. Today's market is not for those who repeat outdated formulas. Entering a conversation and dumping a stream of information as if reading a brochure is the fastest route to indifference. The root cause isn't an unattractive product, but an outdated seller's mindset. They think I need to impress quickly, but that very thought turns them into a forgettable copy in the customer's eyes. Don't be surprised if they say I need more time to think. In truth, they've mentally checked out long ago. When the presentation becomes repetitive, the listener becomes immune. They're no longer curious, no longer eager to explore. All efforts at persuasion become meaningless once the listener disconnects. You might be speaking to a polite nod, but underneath lies silent rejection. Without realizing this, you'll stay stuck in the cycle. Set a meeting, present, get vague promises, then silence. This isn't the product's fault. It's the outcome of clinging to outdated methods, unaware you've fallen behind. To spark genuine attention, flip your starting point entirely. Instead of aiming to sound impressive, start with sincere interest and deep questions. This doesn't require advanced techniques, but a mindset shift. Don't aim to impress, aim to understand. Sometimes, a bold statement like, "I get the feeling this might not be truly necessary for you. Is that right?" isn't risky. It's what snaps the listener back into the moment. Those who dare ask such questions are often the ones who get heard the most. In conversation, silence is a weapon few know how to wield. Instead of rushing your words, try pausing at the right moment. Those empty spaces create opportunities for the other person to speak. And when they do, you get to uncover what matters most, what they truly think. Skilled sellers know how to use brief pauses to adjust the pace, dive deeper, and ensure the customer doesn't feel pulled in just one direction. No need to talk a lot, just at the right time. The less you speak, the more the listener feels respected and in control. Change the game starting from your next meeting. Write down 3 deep questions to replace your usual boring intro. After each question, hold silence for 3 seconds. Don't try to fill the air. Let the listener take center stage. In your next approach, focus only on getting the customer to open up as much as possible. Set a simple benchmark. They speak 70%. You speak 30%. At the end of each meeting, review who spoke more. If you dominated the talk, that meeting didn't shift the needle. Adjust your direction. Part 2. Deconstructing outdated views on value. Many sellers still boast about their company as if customers care about reputation or founding history. Phrases like, "We're market leaders," "We've got 15 years of experience," actually create distance instead of connection. Why? Because customers are thinking about themselves, not you. They want a solution to a current problem, not a PR pitch disguised as conversation. The more you talk about us, the more you lose the chance to make the listener feel, "This talk is truly about me." The traditional way of presenting products often backfires. The more you explain, the more exhausted the listener becomes, especially when what you say doesn't match their actual concerns. The conversation turns into a boring monologue. They'll politely sit through it, but their mind checked out by minute 3. Listing features as value makes your message fall flat. Human psychology isn't swayed by detail. It's swayed by the sense that this person understands exactly what I'm struggling with. The difference doesn't lie in the product. but in the ability to uncover the real barriers blocking the customer. Instead of asking, "What outcome are you aiming for?" discover what's keeping them from reaching it. Dive into past failures, solutions that didn't work. That's how you become a true partner. When the customer feels you're helping solve the problem, not just trying to close, the distance disappears. You're no longer a salesperson. You're someone they trust. One of the most common mistakes is trying to measure value by calculated numbers. But human behavior doesn't run like an Excel sheet. No one makes decisions solely based on ROI. They choose because it makes them feel safer, more confident, or helps operations run more smoothly. Instead of saying, "This solution saves you 200 million, ask, "If this gets fully resolved, how do you think it'll change the way you manage things?" When answers come from them, the impact multiplies. Not every customer deserves your time and energy. Identifying and pulling out early from poor fit cases is a sign of maturity in sales. The right ones respond clearly, move forward smoothly, and show commitment. On the flip side, if they dodge, delay, or evade, stop chasing. Persistence isn't always wise. Focusing on the few truly aligned customers yields far better results than spreading effort thin across all. Before a new meeting, clear your mindset of "I'm here to sell." Instead, approach with a filtering lens. Find out if the other person's problem truly matches your strengths. Prepare a few qualifying questions to check alignment with your solution. And if after a few minutes, the misalignment becomes obvious, exit politely. Investing your time in the right people is what will accelerate your growth long term. Part 3. Algorithmic consulting process. Bringing up price too early is sales suicide. When the customer doesn't yet understand why they should care, any number you offer becomes a barrier. Impatience paints you as a regular vendor instead of someone offering meaningful change. The earlier price enters the conversation, the more it becomes about comparison. And when they don't yet see anything special about you, they'll just pick the cheaper option. Don't let a quote decide for you. Retain control of the game. Success in big deals doesn't come from talking well, but from accurately reading the hidden decision-making map. The person in front of you may not be the final sign-off. There might be leadership above, a skeptical group on the side, or a hidden budget holder. If you don't understand these links, you'll be stuck waiting endlessly. In complex purchasing processes, whoever understands the power dynamics holds the upper hand. The longer your presentation, the more customers lose focus. They won't remember everything, and don't need to. The most successful people shorten this part to just what matters, the points tied directly to concerns the customer already shared. Let your talking points revolve entirely around confirmed pain points. Don't present every benefit. Just stay tightly aligned with the issues surfaced earlier. That's when your presentation becomes a catalyst instead of a barrier. Every second you speak is a second they don't participate. When you ramble, you widen the gap. Set a firm limit, never talk longer than a minute without pulling the customer back in. A simple question like, "Does this seem relevant to you?" or "Would this help in your current situation?" is enough to re-engage them. Not because they've lost focus, but because you're inviting them back into the journey. The strongest exchanges don't come from polished speech, but from maintaining interactive presence. When you insert light, timely questions, the listener feels like an active part of the dialogue. They're not being led, they're walking alongside you. This builds a sense of control, consensus, and connection. A great salesperson doesn't take center stage, they direct the rhythm, where the customer is both the audience and co-writer of what comes next. In the smoothest deals, there's often no closing moment, no pushy closing question. Everything flows as if both sides are already aligned. When the approach is solid from the beginning, the conclusion unfolds naturally. The customer will voice the next step, propose what's needed, or ask you what's next. That's the result of a deep conversation. No pressure, no tricks. When they feel safe and trust you, commitment arrives uninvited. Review your entire conversation structure. Don't let price enter before value is clear. Reduce one-sided talk to a max of 1 minute per turn. Prepare a small set of questions to keep the dialogue alive. Remove parts of your pitch that aren't tied to specific concerns. Turn the conversation into a co-creation journey instead of a solo pitch. When you can guide the emotional current, trust arises naturally, and you'll no longer need to sell. Part 4. Designing sustainable relationships. Many seemingly successful meetings end in silence for one simple reason: no one defined the next step. When a conversation lacks a clear destination, it drifts into vagueness and fades into oblivion. This lack of clarity means the customer makes no further commitment to you. Worse, they shift to other priorities. A professional salesperson never ends an interaction with ambiguity. Every exchange, long or short, must end with something specific, time-bound, content-defined, and clearly acknowledged. Momentum doesn't come from luck. It comes from controlling the pace. If the customer hesitates to confirm the next meeting, it's not just because they're busy. It may mean they don't see enough value. Many deals fail not due to lack of need, but because the seller didn't create a sense of urgency. Without a clear next anchor, the decision process stalls. A specific time commitment is a strong signal that says we're both on a clear path forward. Don't see rejection as disaster. Don't treat a failed call as a breakdown. One rule must be etched into memory. Not everyone you reach out to will say yes. And that's okay. Some will be a fit, others won't. The key is not to let emotion tie you to each minor outcome. Position yourself as an observer. Note, learn, move on. The market always has enough opportunities, but they only come to those alert enough not to drown in regret. Detaching from the emotion of failure is the most important evolution in sales. Top performers aren't always the ones who win. They're the ones who keep their rhythm. When a deal doesn't close, they don't doubt themselves, blame the customer, or wallow in the outcome. They simply review the process, adjust, and restart with new energy. In a volatile world, those who maintain psychological steadiness last longer and win more consistently. Emotional neutrality is a survival skill. No long-term relationship is built on excessive talking. No one trusts someone who's always trying to convince. Customers believe in those who help them think deeper, see more clearly, not in smooth talkers. Real sellers don't seek admiration. They spark new perspectives. And that doesn't come from endless monologues, but from crafting conversations where the customer feels guided but not controlled. That subtlety is what builds deep trust. Refine how you end every interaction. Instead of asking, "Would you like to proceed?" say, "Let's schedule a time to review the next step in this plan." Then watch the response. If they agree, move forward. If there's no clear commitment, reassess. Are you speaking to the right person? Clarity at this stage helps filter out the ones who are ready to collaborate from those just looking around. This way, your sales process becomes a structured sequence, one step at a time. Part 5. Repeatable success formula. The most common mistake after a failed deal is blaming the customer, the market, or even yourself, without evidence. What needs to be done isn't blame, but a thorough review of the entire interaction. Where did the connection break? Maybe you spoke too soon, or asked too late, or missed an important signal. Professional selling is the ability to recalibrate like a radar. Every rejection is a chance to gather data, not a mark of failure. Success doesn't come from inspiration. It comes from consistently repeating what works. A major shift in mindset is replacing the idea of persuasion with guidance. A true leader doesn't force agreement. They build context, ask the right questions, and clarify the issue so well that the customer can't help but act. When you stop trying to sound impressive and start surfacing what the customer is already thinking, everything changes. This power shift not only builds trust, it also makes the customer feel safe. And that sense of safety is the foundation of major decisions. Don't confuse asking to learn with asking to guide. A quality conversation isn't a laundry list of technical questions, but a purposeful journey of discovery. Every question should open a new layer of insight, a deeper emotional level. A professional seller doesn't seek quick answers. They seek depth. They bring out internal contradictions, things the customer has sensed but hasn't yet named. When you achieve this, you're no longer just a vendor. You help the customer reshape their strategic picture. Every major deal has a complex influence map. It's not just the person across the table. There are people in the background who can shift the entire game. You need to learn how to trace key influencers: who holds the budget keys, who drives timeline pressure, who sets the selection criteria. The sooner you identify these players, the easier it is to craft the right strategy. Selling isn't a simple one-on-one conversation. It's a multi-level game. Those who don't see the full board get beaten by the details. Success isn't the moment you close a deal. It's the ability to create repeatable success scenarios. Look back at what you're doing well, what customers respond positively to, and standardize it into your personal system. Take notes, rehearse it, turn it into instinct. When your techniques become second nature, you're no longer performing. You're just your most effective self. That steady rhythm is what brings sustainable results. Top performers don't win by luck. They win by never overlooking what's been proven to work. Put everything we've explored back on the scale. Are these principles a necessary evolution, or just a fresh coat on the same old ideas? When advice becomes familiar, what remains is how sharply you execute it, sharply enough to force a shift in mindset. Some may dismiss it for being too blunt, but others won't look away. Because each layer of logic strips away illusion without mercy. Is not closing truly pressure-free, or simply a more skillful form of direction? Every exchange, even without a signature, must create movement. Will you adjust your approach, or keep replaying the old template? Who's truly watching, not just to hear, but to transform from the root? Thank you for watching the whole video. Please like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next videos.